And this has also become an increasing problem right here in Sacramento. That's why tonight, in our continuing coverage of Sacramento's mayoral race, we hear from candidates on the topic of affordable housing. Now, 6 people are in the running to become Sacramento's next mayor. Voters will weigh in for the March 5th primary, as we all know. And unless one candidate gets more than 50% of the vote, the top 2 vote getters will advance to the general election in November. Here's Becca Hubegger.
6 Sacramento mayoral candidates qualified for the March 5th primary ballot. Voters and ABC 10 have asked them what they would do as mayor to address the city's housing shortage, especially affordable housing. Dr. Richard Pan is a pediatrician and former state senator and assembly member.
My goal is to maximize the amount of housing that's produced, including affordable housing. So we have to look at, for example, the cost of constructing the housing and what can the city do to lower those costs. Our city processes for things like permitting and approvals, we should make those more efficient. We also need to look at the fees we're charging, because every fee that we add on, of course, gets passed on. And so that raises the cost of housing. We should be looking at what city can do to help finance, not even just directly, but what we can bring people together to finance the construction of more housing, whether it's building new housing, converting existing buildings to housing.
Steve Hansen is a small business owner and former Sacramento City Council member.
We have to build more housing at all levels of affordability. California as a state is 3.5 million units behind in housing because for generations we didn't build enough. I'm really proud Sacramento, we've lowered the barriers to entitlement, but we haven't done as much as we need to lower fees. I did waive fees on all affordable housing, but we don't get our fair share of state and federal monies. So I'm going to fight hard to make sure that we both continue to see market rate housing built, because that takes pressure off all the other units, but also that we're fighting at our own capital to get the money we need from the state government, and then also partnering with our members of Congress, Ami Bera, Doris Matsui, our U.S. senators, to make sure that we're getting our federal dollars.
Kevin McCarty is a state assembly member representing Sacramento and a former Sacramento City Council member.
We need all levels of housing, seniors, or students, from people who work, in retail. We need to have more funding. I support some type of ballot measure to help subsidize the building of more affordable housing. I want to, streamline permitting to make it easier to build housing in Sacramento. And we need to think outside the box. I wrote the law allowing us to convert state office buildings into housing. The old EDD building on Capitol and 8th, it used to be state office building. After the pandemic, people aren't going back to work as much. My law is now being implemented, and we're gonna have 500 affordable housing units right there in the core of Sacramento. I wanna do this next to the old courthouse.
Dr. Flo Kofer is a public health professional who has served on various city and county committees and boards.
Even though I'm not accepting corporate money, I've sat down with the developers. They're an essential part of our community. And I've said, what are the challenges to cost? And we're starting to brainstorm some of the ways that we can lower the cost of materials by using the purchasing power of the city of Sacramento and maybe in combination with the county to be able to lock in pricing. So if we're gonna build 5,000 new units over the next 10 years, then we can lock in a price so we can get that bulk purchasing so that the cost of materials isn't driving up the cost of projects. What would it look like if we had community benefits agreements and we did the environmental quality reviews in advance of projects coming forward so that we could make sure that those are not delaying the project and increasing costs?
Jose Antonio Avina II is a captain in the U.S. Marine Corps and personal trainer.
One of the immediate things we could probably do is looking at the short-term rentals, Airbnbs. Those actually take up a lot of the available housing that we have in the downtown and the outskirts of the city as well. So questioning those property owners, is that really truly your place of record, right? Your home of record, or are you only using it for profit? There's guidelines on Airbnb as well, that this must be your place that you live at and you're simply renting it out for the time that you're not there. It's not supposed to be a full-time rental property. One of the other things is, holding some of those property portfolio investment companies accountable as well. Are they holding on to those properties because they want to invest in our community, or are they holding on those properties as a write-off for their own taxes?
Julius Engel is an asset protection manager. He previously worked as an attorney but was disbarred in 2020 for professional misconduct. He spoke about ways to create temporary shelter for people experiencing homelessness, including on a 102-acre property the city bought from the federal government 2 years ago.
We have the land, we have places, we have these many almost cute-looking little houses that you can make, temporary houses. How about setting them up? Now the county has something set up in South Sac. That's a good start. So we have that tract of land. There are other places we can look for, other jurisdictions we can look for. So there's a lot of things we can do. I've given you some examples now, and when I get into office, I'm sure we'll have even more ideas.
And you already know, we want to help you feel informed and confident as you vote for Sacramento's next mayor. And over the past 2 evenings, we've also brought you the candidates' views on how they would address homelessness and crime. So you can hear the full interviews with each candidate right now on abc10.com. And then coming up tomorrow on To the Point, we're sitting down with city council candidates running in Sacramento's District 2, hear from them about how they would run the district and also address the homelessness crisis.